name is Sarah Haxby, and I'm a visual artist who lives on Bowen Island, and I'm part of an exhibit called Blindsight. As you walk through the doors of the gallery, we hope to have an inclusive and accessible exhibit that is welcoming to sighted and non-sighted, blind and deaf members of the public to come to see this show, which explores vision and loss of vision and the many different modes of seeing through body mechanics, Braille writing, sight and the loss of sight. We hope to have some 3D artworks and audio artworks in the center of the gallery, and then the walls will have a mix of photographs with a Braille overlay that can be read, and some imagery that I've created that's exploring a sight issue that I have been dealing with. I've been a visual artist my whole life and have a master's of fine art and art history, and which led into a career in education and working in the community on many different projects. That's been my journey as an artist, and a few years ago I started having ocular migraines, which caused me to experience partial and full loss of sight, which is temporary. So far, the longest time period has been for about a day before my vision returns. And as a visual artist, that brought me back to my visual arts practice and exploring drawing and working with not only what I could see, but also exploring the idea of loss of sight and movement in drawing. Like, what would I draw if I lost my sight? I've been working on these artworks for a while, and last summer I started talking to one of my friends, Verna Vogel, who's another visual artist, and she'd been incorporating body mechanics into her paintings. So she was closing her eyes and feeling her way into her compositions. And I thought that was fascinating, and that continued to inspire my work. And then the third part of the puzzle came about last fall when we had Alex Jurgensen, Jocelyn, and Jessica Gladys come to the school where I work, and they gave us a talk on being blind, the technology that assists people who are blind, and how people in the general public can communicate with, assist, and how to not assist people who are blind. On Bowen Island, there's a long tradition of having the camp for blind students to learn how to navigate in the world. And so they were advocating for a more inclusive society and just basically what we can all do. The simplest thing that they explained to the students, which I really appreciated, was if you're talking to someone who's blind, you can say the word see. And I had noticed I dropped that out. And they said, well, we don't listen to a movie, we see the movie. Use that word, even if, we can't technically see. Don't modify the language for us. Keep it inclusive. Use your regular language. If you see someone who's blind, ask them if you can help. Don't just grab them by the elbow. Anyhow, these three things came about to sort of coalesce into me thinking that it was time for a deeper conversation about inclusivity, what it is to be blind, and to explore it through visual arts. So I wrote the proposal for Blindsight. I'm glad that you will come and see the exhibit, either online or in person. I would like to apologize for any imperfections. There will be some Braille, and we will have as much inclusivity as possible as you navigate a room filled with drawings of animals, with line work, sort of exploring a disintegration of the animals into just India brushwork, seeing very colorful abstract art by Verna Vogel that evokes what she sees when she can't see. She listens to music and then puts the sound into visual paint after she's done the line work on the canvases. And then the additions from the blind artists. I'm not entirely sure what the entire show is going to look like because it is partly an experiment. It's the start of a conversation. It's the beginning of my learning on being more inclusive and just thinking about visual arts, sighted, unsighted, and how to be inclusive and think about everyone. Alex Jurgensen is working on a clay series of sculptures that will reflect how he sees and feels Bowen Island. And Jessica and Jocelyn are doing some audio work. And then I went and visited the Camp for the Blind on Bowen Island, and some of the students there volunteered to sit for photographic portraits of themselves. This was, I believe, the first experience for some of them to have a professional photography portrait done of them. And then they are writing words that are their portrait of themselves, how they think of themselves on the interior. And that's going to be put onto Braille clear plastic sheets. So if you're blind, you will be able to read the portrait of the blind student and their portrait of themselves. And then the sighted audience will be able to look through the Braille to see the photographic image of the students. And then for the sighted as well, we will translate the Braille into printed text. Yeah, to go from the social context and the studio context into the gallery context and an exhibit, and working with skilled curators at the gallery is the other part that I'm very excited about, to see how the studio works are brought to life by the gallery and what other conversations are inspired by the exhibit.